Batter ready from head to feet.
Swinging to the right center field.
It's time to go. It's time to get ready.
Welcome to Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV+. The rain is stopped in Baltimore. The Arizona Diamondbacks, the Baltimore Orioles open up a weekend series. National League West, Diamondbacks went to the World Series last year. Slow start this year, but they've won 4 straight. And for the Orioles, 101 wins last year, and they just keep on winning. 24-12, first place in the East. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Baltimore. Rich Waltz along with Ryan Spilborgs, who ended up in the splash zone last time he was here. Trisha Whitaker will join us shortly. This is a fun series and a fun night for us. There's a lot of talent, and most of it really young.
Very young talent, and you're right. I'm not going to be in the splash zone tonight. It's actually pretty cool. You're going to see the new owner of the Baltimore Orioles out there on a bobblehead night. I'm excited for this place because it's turned into a party. We've been coming here for now 2 years. There's a different feel. The Arizona Diamondbacks, they went to the World Series. The Baltimore Orioles, they're trying to get there now.
All right, if you have a party, you have to invite some guests. And the honored guests here tonight are the Rookie of the Years from the National League and the American League. And let's start by comparing their sophomore seasons. For Gunnar Henderson, he's blazing. For Corbin Carroll, a slow start.
It has been a slow start for Corbin Carroll. Gunnar Henderson has just been doing his thing. I think when we're watching both of these players play, you have to understand the skill sets that they have are off the charts. You're going to be talking about generational type players. For Gunnar Henderson, the homers, he has 11. That's the best in the American League. He's scoring runs because his offense is electric, slugging at a high rate. How's he doing that? Well, he's destroying not only fastballs, non-fastballs. So he's seen a lot of off-speed pitches, and he's doing damage with it. High slugging percentage, hard hit rate. That's really important because the second year that you're in the big leagues, you're usually going to see some sort of adjustment that the league makes. Gunner's made it, and it puts him near the top.
And that quartet, many people wouldn't put Gunnar Henderson in with that group, but he certainly belongs from last year to this year.
No question.
He's 22 as Gunnar Henderson. Corbin Carroll is 23. What's happened to him? Because last year he was the catalyst to get to the World Series, but a slow start this year.
It has been a slow start for him. I think it goes back to a swing he had in July. He hasn't really quite recovered from both the physical and some of the slight mechanical adjustments he's made a year ago. Exit velocity, 90 miles an hour for a small guy too. Hard hit percentage up, sweet spot up. All those are down. Why? Well, part of it has to do with, does he have a flaw in the swing? Yes, he's a little bit long. Bat path is long. He also has a little bit of a mental adjustment you have to make when you're not quite 100%. So what happens when you are starting to get exposed? StatCast is powered by Google Cloud. Here's what the league has done to him in his sophomore year. They're exposing him with the mechanical flaw with fastballs upstairs. You cannot catch up to it. We're going to keep throwing it to you. He has only 1 hit, and that happened in the last week. The thing is, Torey Lovello told us today about Corbin Carroll. He's healthy. It has nothing to do with health. He is fully healthy. It's now just getting him back to the top of the lineup, which they strategically did, and he's starting to kind of bear fruit for him.
Ready to go, weekend series. We've got Friday night here, Diamondbacks and Orioles. Diamondbacks have won 4 straight. They're starting to look a little like last year. And man, Baltimore just keeps on winning. Diamondbacks, Orioles, straight away. ready to go in Baltimore. Camden Yards, and the energy and the vibe is back after a great season last year and a terrific start this year for the Orioles. The Diamondbacks, top of the order, Ketel Marte, presented by BetMGM. Marte is going to DH in this game. Corbin Carroll has been moved from the bottom of the lineup up to the top, will hit second. Lourdes Gurriel hits well in this ballpark. Christian Walker, Randall Grichuk, Eugenio Suarez, a slow start. Gabby Moreno, Blaze Alexander at second, and Kevin Newman. They'll be facing a lefty. The Diamondbacks have hit lefties, but this lefty is red hot.
It's red hot. This lefty is red hot, Rich. And I think as we're watching Cole Irvin, what's been important is Baltimore this season has so much depth, but they've been challenged with injuries. We know John Means is coming back. Kyle Bradish just returned. But we've seen injuries to Grayson Rodriguez. And so Cole has really kind of been really important for him. We're going to go with Curvin Irvin because the curveball, it's been a huge jump in pitch usage for him, and he's been really hard in blank slate because it's been 20 and a third. I don't want to broadcast jinx it, but he's been on a stretch right now where he is in the strike zone, he's trusting his stuff, and he is getting outs.
Ketel Marte in the box, and he has been dynamite against lefty bats. Marte, the switch hitter, rolls it to short. Gunnar Henderson to first. One pitch, one out, and a lot of ground balls coming his way.
Well, StatCast is powered by Google Cloud for Cole Irvin. I think what stands out when we're watching him pitch is versus a season ago, the fastball has slightly increased. He's using his sinker a little bit more, but the curveball, when you're talking about curveball usage and you see an increase of close to 15% and you get a separation of 15 feet, that's where hitters can no longer key in on your fastball, and they have to respect your off speed.
And now lefty on lefty. Here's Corbin Carroll, and a fastball in, and that's where everyone has been pitching him, in and up with fastballs.
Although it makes sense too, because for Corbin Carroll, I mean, there's a leg kick, toe tap, and when I talk about some of the mechanical flaws he's had, it goes back to a swing he made in July of last year, where he injured his right arm, his right shoulder, and he's gone two-hand finish. He's not able to keep his weight back the same way he was earlier in his career, at least last year when he was raking. So things start to kind of compound for hitters when you have some issues.
He's talked an awful lot about bat angle. That's a called strike. John Bacon, our home plate umpire. And count 2-2.
Just gives you a look at how Cole can use that curveball to get himself back in the count.
And of course, Cole Irvin has been in the big leagues. Average season last year in a rough first 3 starts. But now he's got 21 scoreless innings in a row. A little soft line drive, and Henderson has it. Both these teams defensively have got some playmakers out there. And a lot of first-round draft picks out there for Baltimore. Now Gurriel. Of all the Diamondbacks, he has the most experience in this ballpark. And he has absolutely torched Camden Yards. 364 average, 29 games, 7 homers. But he is on a real dive right now. 4 for his last 46. And Spilly, he has not walked in that span.
That's usually your lifeboat, your life vest whenever you're struggling, is you can still work a walk. But at least for the season, 341 batting average against lefties.
Cracks it into left field. And a 2-out hit. And that gets Christian Walker to the plate. Let's take a look at tonight's odds, courtesy of BetMGM. Total runs for the Diamondbacks. Walker now, a special moment as he steps into the box. He was originally drafted by the Baltimore Orioles, toiled in the minor leagues, got to the big leagues, didn't play a lot, and then was waived by the Orioles. And really at a crossroads in his career. He was actually waived by 3 different teams during a spring training. And the last team to pick him up, the Diamondbacks. Then he spent the next couple years tearing apart Reno in the Pacific Coast League, playing behind Paul Goldschmidt. And he knocks one into center field. That's a base hit.
I mean, I don't really count it as revenge ABs, but it does mean something special to Christian Walker. I mean, his first Major League homer happened in the 3rd game of his career here at Camden Yards against Ruby De La Rosa against the Red Sox. Even with 2 outs, the Diamondbacks, who are 5-9 on the season against lefties, trying to create a little bit of traffic and stop this scoreless streak of Cole Irvin.
Torey Lovullo stacked some righty bats, giving Randall Grichuk a start, and he's slotted in the 5th spot, and Irvin misses outside.
Well, Grichuk had to have surgery on his right ankle this offseason, remove some bone spurs. So he had a little bit of a late spring training.
So the scoreless streak for this lefty, longest in the big leagues. Active here, longest this year, 20 2/3. And he'll dial up mid-90s with a fastball.
And now that he gets the 2 strikes, he's looking for his put-away pitch, which has been the curveball in 2024.
Fouls it off. You saw Brandon Hyde there briefly, the manager of the Orioles. His rotation has been in flux, and it's a lot healthier now with Kyle Bradish and John Means back. Irvin was kind of a guy that was on the bubble until this streak started.
It's amazing how that works.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Just underway in Baltimore. The Diamondbacks here for a weekend series. Cole Irvin on a great run. The lefty got the first 2 outs, but a Gurriel single, a Walker single, and a 2-2 to Grichuk. And he stays alive. Arizona is one of the best first inning teams in all of baseball. They lead in just about every offensive category.
They were benefited early on in the season. They had a 4-game series against the Rockies to open. They scored every run.
Oh, Spilly.
Yeah.
That one fouled back. And it's still 2-2. Grichuk, you saw him with the Rockies last year, one of his stops last year. And he, like a few guys around baseball, love hitting in this ballpark. Pulls it, foul. Although I would venture that a lot of those numbers came before
Baltimore,
before they moved that left field wall back.
I mean, this ballpark, it had 2 things going for it as a right-handed hitter. Number 1, fantastic batter's eye. So it was a great place to see the baseball. And to your point, left field, you felt like you can get it out if you happen to pull an off-speed pitch.
Another 2-2. Check swing. Did he go? No swing. It's Chad Whitson down at first.
Right on the side of the curveball, it's down and in exactly where he wants it, but Grichuk's able to hold up. Now you'll get both runners moving.
The 3-2 in the air. Kowser's out there. The moves rain down. And the scoreless streak continues for Cole Irvin. Orioles get their first swings next. BetMGM. Adley Rutschman in the 2 spot behind the plate. Gunnar Henderson leading off. You got Ryan O'Hearn in there. Some lefty bats arrive. This is a lineup that from top to bottom has done a ton of damage already in the American League.
Well, Brandon Pfaadt's going to have his hands full with a bunch of lefties in the lineup.
And this lefty is really good. And Walker, the 2-time Gold Glover, gets it and gets to the bag. And Brandon Pfaadt has thrown 1 pitch, and it's a loud out.
Well, for Brandon Pfaadt, this marks his 8th start of the season. He is one of the league's best as far as the strikeout to walk ratio. He does not walk a lot of people. Let's get to the spill the beans. We said, let's fight through the lefties since his name's Brandon Pfaadt, and then don't get splashed. Try to keep this team from hitting extra base hits. So he's going to have to throw up and in to a lot of the lefties.
It is, of course, Mr. Splash bobblehead night here. The splash zone, which Spilly ventured into last year, will be rolling. The new owner of the Orioles will be out there leading the splashing. And this is Rutschman now, who takes a pitch that caught the zone. It was called high. Ball and a strike. There's not a lot of easy outs in this lineup. Up the middle. And a hop for Newman. On to first, and Pfaadt's got 2 outs. His arsenal on StatCast, powered by Google Cloud, with a little raindrop effect there.
Isn't that fun? It's always raining in Baltimore. I mean, Counting Crows made a fantastic song. I love that album. 4-seam fastball, the sweeper, and so something to note, especially for Brandon Pfaadt, he's moved over to the first base side of the rubber. Why? It's because it allows him to throw more pitches within the tunnel, because his stuff is good. If you've seen Logan Webb pitch, Logan Webb is very similar. They have good sinking action with their fastball. They can throw a 4-seam fastball, and then they have a slider. So you have to really think about both sides of the plate.
The Arizona Diamondbacks have one of the best pitching coaches, maybe the best pitching coach in all of baseball, in Brent Strong. He gave us about a 5-minute seminar on how Pfaadt would attack the Orioles. Ryan O'Hearn, he's off to a great start and takes a strike.
Pretty amazing for Ryan O'Hearn. He's from Kansas City. He was here last year in Baltimore. Wasn't quite sure if he's going to get opportunities, and then he started hitting the ball hard. And now he's right in the middle of this lineup.
Yeah, the Orioles hit home runs better than anybody. D-backs have some gold out there. Gabby Moreno, a surprise Gold Glover last year. What a terrific rookie season for him. And we told you about Christian Walker and his 2 Gold Gloves last 2 seasons. That fastball in, and that's exactly where Brent Strom wanted it against the lefty bats. Grichuk has the catch. That's a 1-2-3 first for Brandon Pfaadt. We're underway in drizzly Baltimore.
To see an extra base hit, not like this.
That'll be an extra base hit for Austin Hayes. And it's a super soaker into left for a base hit. Another one.
Oh, that was last year. That was epic. And you got to keep the goggles, too.
Oh, I got baptized. I was bathed in the bird bath.
Suarez, right center. Mullins on the run, and he's there and makes the catch. Trisha Whitaker is with
Coming to me,
us.
thank you.
And she's headed towards the splash zone. Trisha?
Well, hey there, I am joined by perhaps the most special guest we've been joined by so far this season, David Rubenstein, the owner of the Orioles, in the splash zone. This is very exciting. Is this why you spent a good chunk of change on this team to be Mr. Splash tonight?
Cost $1.6 billion to be able to do this. So I didn't realize, I thought you could do it for less, but it takes $1.6 billion to do this.
You got a great greeting when you walked up here. How much do these fans mean to you? They're cheering you on.
They're great fans, and this is great. You don't get this in other cities. You can't get this in New York or LA, right?
You cannot. You cannot.
This is
What's going to be your method tonight as Mr. Splash? No mercy?
You're going to get very wet, so you better be ready. We're going to get a lot of hits, and therefore there's going to be a lot of spraying, I hope. A lot of splashing.
We know you have so much love for this team and this city.
I do.
If I were to tell you at 10 years old, watching the Orioles, since this is your home city, that you were going to be the owner of this team one day, what would 10-year-old David say?
I would have said I'd rather be a player on the team than the owner, but at 10 years old, I didn't know the difference.
How special is that, though, to be the owner of your hometown team?
Great. So where are you from?
I am actually from Indiana, but I grew up a big baseball fan, and this is the coolest thing ever to me.
All right. Now, okay, well, I got to get a bobblehead here.
He's got to get a bobblehead, guys.
Yes, all right, there, see that sign?
Now, what about that? There's a sign that says, "Now I want a David Rubenstein bobblehead."
Okay.
Are we going to have one of those?
I hope if we get a home run today, we will. And we're going to give everybody a hat.
We love it. David Rubenstein, we appreciate it. Enjoy being Mr. Splash.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure.
Guys, let's send it back to you.
He is having the time of his life owning this team, and it's been a really short ownership, but you can feel the vibe around the city. That's really helped kind of invigorate the franchise.
No question. I mean, there's been when you feel that jolt, you know, when you have an owner that feels like a fan for fans. We see it with Steve Cohen with the New York Mets. There's an attraction, right? The Mets brought back Old Timers game. They've brought back certain parts. There's some nostalgia to it, and so I could only imagine what he's going to bring back to this organization.
The pitch is in. Blaze Alexander getting the start at second base for the Diamondbacks. He's in the 8th spot. Kevin Newman behind them. One of the key injuries. The Diamondbacks really miss Geraldo Perdomo, their shortstop. And that is strike 3 called. Cole Irvin goes 1-2-3 to the Diamondbacks in the seconds. Scoreless, Arizona and Baltimore. This is presented by DQ, the official treat of MLB. Happy tastes good. And from blizzard to splash, the owner is here. Look at this. This is quite a scene in left field.
Ruben Splash, he's going to be out in left center for this half inning.
And he said, remember, everybody gets a cap if they win.
And, well, we need Ryan Mountcastle to hit a homer so we can get the Ruben Splash bobblehead.
Mountcastle kind of gets jammed and sends that one into left center, and it drops for a hit. So the first hit for the Orioles. Anthony Santander and Colton Cowser will follow here in the second.
This is what makes the Orioles and their offense so good, is that they're not only power driven, there's some quality at bats up and down the lineup. That's the one thing that we've always said. When you see good offenses, it's not that they're just feast or famine. They still find ways to get on base. Even their middle of their lineup has ways to get on base.
Santander pulls that into right field. Mountcastle to second, and that's it. Gritchick quickly to the ball. And the Orioles are first and second and nobody out.
It's a steady mix of veteran hitters. Anthony Santander, who had a pretty remarkable series in Washington, made a really good defensive play. And Santander is just a special find that the Orioles have had. He's gone through the rough times, he's gone through the good.
Colton Cowser, who went through the good times early in this season. Left field, hit pretty well. Gurriel back in that deep corner, reaches, stumbles, and has it. Makes the catch. Mountcastle was tagging at second and ends up at third. Santander was halfway to second, retreats to first. This is quite a catch.
Well, this probably is a home run in 29 out of 30 ballparks, and this is not how you draw it up. I mean, he goes Willie Mays kind of. For Gurriel, I mean, you're just trying to hang on, see if you can somehow find the baseball and catch it. You try to catch the ball in the middle. But good base running from Mountcastle. Santander, he was tagging up, then he thought it might fall.
Jordan Westburg now with an opportunity to get Baltimore on the board. Mountcastle at third. Santander is at first base. Arizona's infield looking for a ground ball. And Brandon Pfaadt in some trouble in the second inning. And Pfaadt lines it left center field. Carroll not going to get there. It drops in. Westburg headed to second, and he's got the double. A run scores. Santander's at third, and everybody's getting wet.
All this has happened in just a handful of pitches, Rich. From leadoff single to Santander, Cowser swinging first pitch, a ball that would have been a homer in 11 different ballparks, and then Jordan Westburg, who down in the 7th spot has found a home.
Cedric Mullins now. And Mullins swings and misses. Mullins in the 8th spot. Jorge Mateo is behind him. And then you got top of the order, Gunnar Henderson looming. 1 out. Middle infield back, corners are even. And Pfaadt misses outside.
On Jordan Westburg, as soon as this ball was hit, he knew he had a chance to get to second base, especially with Santander at first. Maybe he'll take a shot throwing to third, so you're the trail runner. It's 7th double of the season.
Slow ground ball, that'll score a run. Santander scores, Mullins knocks him in, and Westburg is at third with 2 outs. And again, the splash zone in full flow.
This is a team at bat from Cedric Mullins. You know the infield is back. You put a ball in play, you're going to get a run scored.
Now Mateo In the air. Grichuk. And it's out of his reach and off the screen.
This Orioles lineup this inning has been extremely aggressive.
Well, for Fott, it's not been a great start to the year. His ERA 5.72 to begin with. Start number 8. He, of course, had an excellent postseason last year in his rookie year. To right, Grichuk back at the wall, and he's got the catch. But Baltimore engaging the splash zone. 2 runs on 3 hits and a 2-0 start for the Birds. Seasons without a pennant, and that is going to the World Series. The Mariners have never been, the Pirates been a long time, Brewers and Orioles. That's quite a drought for a team that's had success. Certainly, hard ground ball at short. Henderson off balance, catch tag, got him. Newman is out. Terrific work by Mountcastle to make that play at first.
Well, we know the field has been wet because it's been raining in Baltimore, shocker. And when you're watching Gunnar Henderson, we always talk about his hitting acumen, but his defense at shortstop has been fantastic. Now, he's helped out by Ryan Mountcastle, who has been such a plus defender. Brandon Hyde was telling us, look, Mountcastle at first has improved so much.
A Gold Glove finalist last year was Mountcastle. And that's not his natural position. He, I believe, was a shortstop at one point and has played around the infield. Here's Marte, top of the order, bounced out back in the first. Diamondbacks had a couple of 2-out singles back in the first inning. But Cole Irvin just keeps on putting up zeros. 23 consecutive scoreless innings now. And you talk about history. He's trying to chase down Mike Mussina for the longest scoreless streak of 27 innings in the wild card era.
And we had such a fun stat today from our stats pack, talking about how this run, it's been 3 consecutive starts for Cole, 6 1/3, no runs scored. Fernando Valenzuela in 1993 did that.
Wait a minute, in Baltimore? That's deep. Santander is back, and it's gone. And Ketel Marte, his 5th home run against lefties, his 8th home run of the year, And Arizona is on the board. It's 2-1.
Really impressive swing. Apologies to Cole for ruining the scoreless streak as we were talking about it. But for Ketel Marte, he's a special player. I mean, this year he's not stealing bases at a high rate like we're accustomed to seeing, but he just put a jolt.
Well, I mean, Marte really getting his first chance to step out into the national spotlight last year. Had an incredible postseason. Hit .344 slugs, .590, 3 homers, drove in 13 runs.
He's one of the more underappreciated players in baseball. He was a top 5 MVP finisher a handful of years ago. He's just a good player, good all-around player.
You talk about the surprise of Fernando was a Baltimore Oriole. Marte set a record last year, which you go, wait a minute, he had 20 games in postseason where he had a hit. A 20-game hit streak as Carroll lined out. From 2017 through last year's postseason, that's the longest in Major League history. 20 straight games in the postseason with a hit. That's amazing.
He was part of a pretty big trade, significant trade a handful of years ago that sent Mitch Haniger and Ketel Marte. Taijuan Walker was in that deal.
With Seattle.
Seattle.
Lourdes Gurriel, good sign. Solid single to left in the first. Was on a 4-for-46 dive before that hit. Behind in the count, 0-2. Been a drizzly day all day here in Baltimore. Field is still in pretty good shape. Gurriel had a very nice postseason. Homered in the division series, in the NLCS, and in the World Series. No swing.
That's a well-located fastball right at the top of the strike zone. Gurriel, he's strong enough to hold the barrel back. That's a tough combo too. Go from a high fastball up and in to a changeup down and away.
Two. Fouled that off. You know, one of the guys that Arizona really misses right now is Geraldo Perdomo, and you wouldn't think as much, but in the number 9 spot, a .353 on base. He's always terrific, patient hitter, turns the lineup over, would get on base in front of Carroll, who was leading off last year,
well, and
plays a dynamite shortstop.
Yeah, he was an all-star season ago. He brings some energy. You're always looking for energy players that are good everyday players. That's exactly what Perdomo is.
A swing and a miss. Scoreless streak ends. Irvin gets through the third. Ketel Marte, 5th homer against lefties. Arizona's on the board. Baltimore leads 2-1.
Orioles in the second inning. They scored 2 runs on 11 pitches. They were also extremely aggressive so far on first pitches. They've swung at 5 of the 9 pitches they've seen from Brandon Pfaadt.
First pitch misses out to Gunnar Henderson, top of the order. Baltimore getting 2 runs on 3 hits in the second. Henderson, Adley Rutschman, Ryan O'Hearn.
Well, Rich,
foul.
it makes sense too if you think about an approach, a team approach. When you're having a meeting, hitters will meet and they'll go over the starter. Well, Brandon Pfaadt has one of the league's best strikeout to walk ratios. You know he's going to throw strikes, so why give him a free strike?
Yeah, it's early action from the Orioles, especially in that second inning.
You really want a pitcher to feel defensive when you're facing a lineup. You want them to start to nibble, be scared to throw strikes.
Ooh, a bullet that's foul. 57 homers. It's best in baseball. First in the American League in slugging and OPS. That's the snapshot for the Orioles right now. Henderson, and Alexander throws him out. During the commercial break, Tricia Whitaker caught up with Torey Lovello, Diamondbacks manager. Our manager interview presented by Sage.
All right, Cole Irvin was tough early on, but Ketel Marte, he got to one. What'd you see from that impressive swing?
Yeah, that's what it was. It was a really impressive swing. He stayed on a 3-1 fastball out over the plate. He's that dynamic. He can hit a home run in any park, in any direction.
Ariel Jr., how about that catch? He hung tough and he made it.
Yeah, that's a long way. This is a new park for us. We haven't played here. We didn't get on the field pregame. Tough to navigate that space, but it was a great play and a big pick-me-up for us.
We appreciate the time.
Thanks.
Guys?
All right, thank you, Tricia. Adley Rutschman bounced to short back in the first. Rutschman takes outside.
We always say championship caliber teams have a championship caliber backstop, and that's what Baltimore has when they landed the #1 overall pick and they drafted Adley Rutschman.
Smokes it into center. Carroll through the rain makes the catch. He's still out there.
He's signing autographs. I bet you some people are hoping they're checks.
Well, he's signing those too, as the new owner of the Orioles. If you missed it, he was in the splash zone.
Yeah, Ruben splash.
Nice catch.
Ryan O'Hearn, fly ball out back in the first.
This is what I love about baseball. A player like Ryan O'Hearn, 728 career OPS, slightly below league average. This year it's 915. His numbers last year were a nice jump from Kansas City, and he's right now on pace to blow past those. He got married this offseason. You wonder if, as guys get older in life and they get smarter and smarter, you start learning your swing and your strengths. And in the case of Ryan O'Hearn, he has stayed within the strike zone. He's always had that great ability.
Are you saying that he got smarter once he got married?
It's usually the case.
Yes, it is. That is a strike right at the knees. And that, actually for a lefty bat, that's not a bad pitch to hit. That low strike fastball. And he lost him. And that brings Mountcastle to the plate. We were talking about Mountcastle's defense, and all around in both dugouts, you got playmakers out there. Carroll in center field, Walker at first, and certainly with the Orioles. The Orioles do a lot of things really, really well. They're a well-balanced team. Their pitching staff has the second best whip in all of baseball. Defensively, if you go by defensive runs saved or outs above average or fielding percentage if you want, they're in the top third in Major League Baseball. And we talked about how good they are offensively. The one area of concern right now is the back of the bullpen.
That's right. Well, and it's still a top 10 back end of the bullpen, but when you're this good of a team, when you're having all those peripheral numbers, and you start, how good can your bullpen be? Can it be elite? Can it be championship caliber?
It felt that way in April because Craig Kimbrell, Felix Bautista out for the year. Kimbrell was really good in April, and obviously he's had a Hall of Fame type career, but there have been some struggles. I mean, they won the game on Wednesday, but they blew a 2-run lead in the 9th, a 2-run lead in the 11th, and almost a 2-run lead in the 12th. They gave up a run and beat the Nationals 7-6.
Yeah, well, that was drunk baseball. That was just a crazy, crazy baseball if you watch that game.
Is there a league? Like,
yeah, it's like beer league softball.
The DBL?
Yeah, like after the 4th inning.
Two hopper picked. Suarez across the diamond. Walker has it. And Brandon Pfaadt avoids that 2-out walk. Baltimore 2. Arizona 1. Still signing.
Splash zone here in Baltimore, but let's talk about the now famous and beloved Orioles home run celebration. That would be the Homer Hose. It is actually brought to you by the man on the mound today. Yes, that would be Cole Irvin. We all remember that childhood memory of drinking water from the hose while playing outside or playing baseball, right? Well, Cole Irvin certainly remembers it. So with all the nostalgia, guys, he decided the players should take a sip from that hose after a home run. Irvin and his teammate Keegan thought up the idea, and as a result, they were bestowed with the nickname of the Plumbers. Because I don't know about you, I know what he's talking about when he says the nostalgia. Everybody remembers playing in the backyard growing up. You can almost taste the type of water that comes out of the hose. So
Yeah.
it's nostalgic.
No, it's that it was the best water in the summer, right? The hose.
Well, there's addition to it, so they've redone the hose as a hydration station. However, the original hose is in the bullpen. And what happens before the game, the bullpen, they play bocce ball.
Bruce Bocce Ball?
Yeah, they
Bocce
play,
ball.
They play bocce ball. So they play bocce ball before the game, and the winner of it gets to pick a player in the lineup or on the roster to hit a homer. And if that player gets it correct, you'll see a bullpen member drinking from the original homer hose.
Which should be sent to Cooperstown, right? The original one.
The original one. Right now, it currently sits in the bullpen, and that, to me, is how you stay connected to the bullpen. You'll see a lot of hitters, they give the love sign to the bullpen when they hit homers now. I dig that.
Christian Walker leading off the 4th. And that's way outside. They've gone through a few nicknames for it, some very colorful. Hydration Station is kind of the...
It's politically correct.
Yes. I mean, it's essentially a beer bong, right? That they probably
Yes.
commandeered from the University of Maryland or something like that.
Yeah.
And brought it to the bullpen, now into the dugout, and it's been a big hit. Walker, deep at bat here. Loud single back in the first. Everything off his bat is loud. This is one of the guys that exit velocity, hard hit rate, all that stuff is really good at. And he fouls it off. And if you just joined us, this is a really nice night for him. The long road to a starting role in the big leagues started as a draftee from the Baltimore Orioles. He played at South Carolina, 4th round, 2012. That's strike 3 call. Walker didn't agree with it.
He doesn't have to agree with it, but he still has to go back to the dugout.
Missed by a bunch.
It did miss by a lot. It's a backdoor curveball, and here's where Adley Rutschman excels. He's a big body catcher. So sometimes you'll see some of these pitches up and away from an umpire. They get blocked out. They can't see it.
Here's Grichuk. In that last replay is a great illustration. The side swing look. Rutschman, coming from Oregon State, Golden Spikes winner, was a traditional crouch catcher. And he's turned into a hybrid one-knee guy. He's down on one knee here. He's turned into a hybrid one-knee guy. And on that pitch, you saw him go from crouch down to one knee as the pitch was coming. This last hitter with Grichuk, he was on one knee before the pitch was delivered.
Well, you'll hear a lot of umpires talk about trying to get their head into a certain slot. And the slot is, so as you're watching the home plate umpire, notice where Adley will set up. The umpire is going to go right over his left shoulder because you're protected from possibly getting hit by a foul ball.
Grichuk pulls that to left. Cowser is there and he makes the catch.
I still love how they rain down moves because he is the milkman in Colton Cowser. So going back to an umpire in the slot, when the umpire's head is in this slot, if it's a big body catcher, they often don't see the outside part of the plate up.
And part of the benefit for catchers going to one knee, everyone talks about dominating the lower rail and preserving strikes or stealing strikes, but it genuinely gives the umpire a better look at the low strike.
So, and if you dig into numbers, you really care about catching framing numbers, the best catchers that catch low pitches are short. There are benefits to different sizes in baseball. Adley's down in the Tony Pena stance to try to get his big body down so he can present a baseball to the umpire. Notice how his body's all the way down. He's trying to present it better.
Suarez, 3-0 pitch. And of course, part of the controversy right now in baseball is catchers, in addition to getting down, is getting forward. And that's all well and good until someone gets hurt. And Wilson Contreras, with a broken wrist, got too close to a hitter. And that was encouraged by the Cardinals. They wanted him to get, and other teams are doing this, trying to move the catchers forward because they feel that you can preserve that last strike. There's a terrific article by Katie Wu in The Athletic a couple days ago. And A.J. Hinch said it best, the Tiger skipper, former catcher. He said catchers are getting paid for controlling the bottom rail. And that's the motivation to get a little lower and a little closer. And a man that's worked behind catchers joins us now. Dale Scott, former Major League umpire. Dale, in this conversation, catchers are creeping forward. How does that affect an umpire?
Well, you have to make some adjustments. You know, you were talking about being in the slot. The slot is that area between the catcher and the hitter, depending on which side the hitter's on. But you definitely, when you have a big guy back there, sometimes you have to make adjustments within that slot You had mentioned it's hard to see the outside corner with a big catcher. That's true. So you need to get up a little bit higher and maybe work yourself a tad bit more into the slot so you can see the entire plate.
Swing and a miss. And the inning is over. Dale, thanks for stopping by. We'll check in with you in a bit. Cole Irvin and Baltimore hanging on to a 2-1 lead. Largest selection of official jerseys, caps, t-shirts, collectibles, and more. Gear up with your favorite team at MLBshop.com. Utah Street, man, when they were going, and even last summer you saw it and you look forward to this summer, Utah Street was the best place to be in the whole baseball world. Boog's barbecue was rolling, the beer was flowing, standing room. This is the ballpark that really first embraced standing room areas. Santander. Anthony, who's one of those hidden gems in the game in terms of power. This is a guy that has hit more home runs than you would expect. 66 home runs since 2022. That's most by a switch hitter. Cal Raleigh is right behind him. Pop-up, and Moreno has it in fair territory. Brandon Pfaadt, what do you see?
Well, he moved over to the first base side of the rubber this season because he was feeling like in 2023, a lot of his misses were inside on the arm side, or the sweeper was starting too much towards the hitter and falling in the middle of the plate. So by moving to the third base side, the fastball looks like it's more of a strike, and then the sweeper starts looking as though it's going to be in the middle portion of the plate, but then comes off the inside portion like that last pitch. So there's the fastball in. We're also noticing tonight, when you have that angle, especially if you're going to lefties, his fastball four-seam usage is right around 34%. Tonight's a huge increase.
Well, Diamondback pitching was so good last year. Not only do they have Brent Strom as their pitching coach, Dan Herron is their pitching strategist. Herron was an outstanding major leaguer. I believe he started 2 All-Star games. And when he retired, he had such a great pitching mind that the Diamondbacks have hired him. And he helps every starting pitcher with an attack plan each game.
Well, the attack plan so far for Brandon Pfaadt, it's now 50% four-seam fastball usage, which is completely different than his normal usage in a start. And again, we're pointing out this team is filled with power hitting lefties. So in order to get them out, you have to pitch in. And it's hard to pitch in as a right-handed hitter to lefties without using your four seam.
Hauser lines it foul. 6 homers. He's driven in 20. And we told you about his fast start. Fott gave up the 3 hits in the second. And the 2 runs, and that's it. Moreno wants it down. And it's rolled to Alexander at second. And we check in with Tricia Whitaker. Hi, Tricia.
Well, hey there, guys. Yeah, you mentioned Brandon Fott, and I spoke with Diamondbacks pitching coach Brent Strom about that, and he said, listen, he actually changed the side of the rubber that he sets up on last year. He said that he noticed that the way his ball moves, that might help him a little bit more. He said, we were trying to create some tunnels and deception for the hitter. He said, we were trying to make it more difficult for the hitter to determine the early shape of his pitches. He said, and it's helped. And guys, he also added a sinker to his repertoire, and Strom, he gave a very lengthy explanation, then he simplified it. He said, the best way to describe the way that his sinker plays is if you took a carton of milk, you cut off the top and you threw the milk out of it with just a square top, all of a sudden it would come out as a block and quickly go in separate directions. And he said that is what the sinker has done for Brandon Fott, guys. I thought that was fascinating.
That's a great visual.
Yeah, it creates a big mess.
On the night with the Mr. Splash bobblehead. Fouled at the plate. Westberg kind of, I don't want to say he rides under the radar, but with all the great young phenoms that the Orioles have brought to the big leagues or have waiting in the minor leagues, Westberg, who's a top draft pick as well, has just really opened a lot of eyes. They love his bat.
Well, they should. Start digging into, some of the types of pitchers that Westberg has been beating up. You want to be able to beat up both lefties and righties. And in the case of Westberg, he's hitting .302 with 4 homers against righties.
He had an RBI single his first at bat. Suarez across the diamond in time. Brandon Fott has pulled it together after that second inning. And he goes 1-2-3 here in the 4th. On to the 5th in Baltimore. 2-1 Orioles. Is here, your new app, real-time scores, stats, all available. to download for free in the App Store on iPhone models iOS 17.2 or later in the US, Canada, and the UK. Brian Spielborg's updating his software before the game, so he's eligible to receive Apple stats.
All over it.
Bottom of the order to start with. Blaze Alexander, Kevin Newman. And the top of the order, Ketel Marte. That one is hit to center. It's a wet night and a chilly night here in Baltimore. The ball's not traveling much, and Cole Irvin sending that one out to the big part of the yard. Alexander is out number one. Here comes Newman. The Diamondbacks on this road trip swept Cincinnati. They've won 4 straight. Yesterday they beat Cincinnati 5-4. Jock Peterson, who's not in the lineup with the lefty on the mound, had a 3-run homer. Of course, the Orioles have won 5 of their last 6. They were just in Cincinnati, and they also swept the Reds.
Yeah, Reds are in bad shape right now. It's a team that a lot of people looked at as a possible National League Central champ. They have not gotten out to a good start. They also suffered a pretty significant injury. I mean, Ellie De La Cruz is amazing, but they really miss Matt McClain.
Newman up the middle. Mateo was shaded towards the bag. And that's 2 quick outs for Cole Irvin. And the Orioles, after Cincinnati, stopped. Well, I mean, sometimes they just stay here and drive over to D.C. and split a 2-game series with the Nats in that wild win 7-6 on Wednesday. They used just about every reliever that was on their roster to get that win. Here's Marte, blasted a homer. And he hits lefties so well. One reason why he's not afraid to go opposite field.
Well, he got an off-speed pitch, a changeup away, and just crushed it to right field. Which goes back to some of the benefits of this ballpark. We're seeing if Camden Yards benefits righties or lefties, especially with the wall moving back in left field, and you're still seeing an even proportion of homers.
And Marte swings and misses. Irvin a quick 1-2-3 fifth. This game is flying in Baltimore. The Birds 2, the Diamondbacks 1. Just ask Siri who was the first #1 overall pick in Orioles history. They didn't get the #1 pick very often, right? Back in the day with Earl Weaver and all the great Baltimore teams. I mean, you have to be a really bad team to get that #1 overall pick.
Well, then once you get it, you got to make sure you hit it.
And boy, have these guys hit it. I mean, I think the 3 teams that have done the best in draft and development: Baltimore, Atlanta, Houston. Because the guys that they develop aren't just players. They turn into superstars.
That's the thing, as an organization, you have to zero in on the type of player that you're looking for. Sometimes it just hits you over the head, right? Bryce Harper, Steven Strasburg.
Mullins fouls it back. He's leading off here in the bottom of the 5th, halfway through. 2-1 Baltimore lead.
In the case of Baltimore, they had Adley Rutschman first overall. That's an easy one. Last year, 2 years ago, they got Jackson Holliday, who we saw make his home debut Friday Night Apple a couple weeks ago, and it wasn't easy for him. They really struggled at the major league level.
Brandon Hyde has done a wonderful job of reviving this franchise on the field. High pop. Alexander is there, and a few zigs and zags, and makes the catch. Here's a Jackson Holliday breakdown for you.
Well, for Jackson, he was raking in AAA, raked in spring training. People were arguing that he might have made the team out of camp. He didn't. It was Tony Kemp. Then he gets called up, and from April 10th to the 23rd, they say there's 2 types of players, one that's been humbled and one that's been yet to be humbled, and Jackson's been humbled. I mean, that experience did not go easy for him.
Here is Mateo. The jump from AAA to the major leagues, in an outstanding article by Ken Rosenthal in The Athletic, talking to a lot of major league people, including Mike Elias of the Orioles, their GM. It has never been a steeper jump than it is right now, especially for young hitters. JD Martinez went down on a rehab assignment, came back, and he was asked, "Hey, how are you feeling?" He goes, "I feel pretty good, but I haven't seen any velocity yet." And he was talking about the difference in velocity and spin rate and stuff from AAA to the major leagues. And I think Holliday's probably a guy that could tell you the same thing.
Luckily for Jackson, the last handful of days, as we showed you, he's starting to swing back the bat a little bit better.
After that second inning, in which the Orioles had 3 hits and 2 runs, 11 straight have been set down, or do not have a hit, rather, by Brandon Pfaadt. He buries that pitch for a ball. Pfaadt doesn't have a strikeout, but he's only walked 1. That was O'Hearn back in the 3rd. Henderson bounced out twice, and he swings and misses. And I think sometimes when a guy like Gunnar Henderson or a Jordan Westburg make that jump and stick and stay, and look, even Henderson had struggles initially. He had to adjust to the velocity and the spin rate and the stuff.
Well, good hitters are going to adjust. That's a key indicator.
That's a great pitch. Right on the corner. It's 1-2. Evens account at 2-2.
Saw this last year with Brandon Pfaadt in the World Series. He is not phased. Even if things start to get out of hand, he can dial it back in a hurry.
He made 5 starts in the postseason, and all of them were pretty darn good. His ERA in those 5 starts was 3.27. And the account full now. Torlavello getting some length out of Pfaadt right now. That's out. Gunner's on his way to first base, and also he's mic'd up tonight.
I'm going to try to hit me a nice little head-high line drive and let that thing just take off like a turbo through the outfield on this wet grass. Yeah, it's gonna start in between 410 and State Farm, then have a little bit of tail to it.
That was just before this at bat. That was his mindset. He walked, and here's Rutschman. Big swing, and he fouls it back.
Just kind of gives you an idea when you're facing a certain hitter, and for him, he was changing his focus point. His focal point was between 410 and State Farm, so he's saying off-field gap, which now takes him away from the fastball up and in. You can't hit a fastball up and in and shoot it opposite field like that. So third time through, that's the adjustment he wanted to make.
It's a great conversation with Yonder Alonso today on MLB Network, talking about a hitting lesson from Tony Gwynn, which is almost the exact same thing. When he was in a slump, I just want a ground ball to short. Once you get the ground ball to short, give me a fly ball hard in the gap. And it brought Alonso out of what was a terrible slump. Rutschman now with a count 0-2. Gunner's got 6 stolen bases. You got Rutschman at the plate and an 0-2 count. Although it's been raining most of the night, a light drizzle, so the track might not be a stable one. Rutschman hits it through the hole into right center field. Henderson around second on his way to third. Big turn by Adley. He'll hold it first. And Baltimore at the corners with 2 outs for Ryan O'Hearn.
Adley just finds the hole in the Diamondbacks infield. It's just based on where Blaze Alexander was playing. He was shaded more in the pull side, and Adley goes up the middle with it. I also loved watching Gunnar Henderson go first and third. It's pretty sweet. He knows, let me see on this wet track if I can get to third. Maybe there's a bobble, I'll have a chance to score. And then you get back to Ryan O'Hearn, who walked in his last at bat. He has more walks this year than he does strikeouts.
He also has 5 home runs this year. Seems like everybody has at least 5 home runs in this lineup for Baltimore. They lead the majors. 57 of them.
Here's first and third for Gunnar Henderson. We call it cutting the pillows. You hit the inside portion of the bag. That's how you make your line a little bit more direct.
And it's 2-1.
Well, good pitch. Good 2-0 count. Throw the changeup. Now you can go back, fastball up and in.
Two 2-1. Hard into right. That's a base hit. And that's another run. Henderson scores. Rutschman to third. Ryan O'Hearn continues a really nice start to this season.
Now, we're saying this about this Orioles team specifically. Yes, they have multiple guys with over 5 home runs, but this inning started with 2 outs, nobody on. It was a leadoff. It was a walk, which you don't see too many of those from Brandon Pfaadt. It was a C-nice single and then another single through the right side.
And that's going to draw a mound visit from Brent Strom, the pitching coach of Arizona, a guy that has just done an incredible job here, much like he did in Houston when he arrived in 2022. He took a lot of guys that were kind of in middling status and help build them into outstanding starting pitchers. And a quick visit. I mean, look, I know there's not a pitching coach in the Hall of Fame. Dave Duncan is kind of a guy that people have talked about. Brent Strom has been a transformational figure in this game. An old school guy who embraced the new school data, techniques, technology, and blended it together in Houston, and he's done it here in Arizona as well. He's really changed the game. Right now, he'd like to change the fortune of Brandon Pfaadt with Mountcastle at the plate. Orioles at first and third, and 2 outs, and it's fouled off.
Oh, Ryan just looked for a knockout blow right there with Ryan O'Hearn. A huge monster homer against the Washington Nationals. Nationals are a fun team. They're up and coming. But Mountcastle has sit right in the middle of Orioles lineup.
The last 3 years, 33 homers, 22 homers. He was injured last year. He had vertigo and had a shoulder injury. He had 18 homers. Outfield towards right center. He fouls that off. All right, you wanted some Nationals. Here you go.
I mean, this team is really fun. Hunter Harvey, is the son of a former closer, and for Mountcastle, he drills his ball out into left center, and you think, all right, that's it. That should knock the game out. This game kept going.
Gunnar Henderson homered, Santander homered, and it almost wasn't enough. They won it in 12 after losing the lead twice. Breaking ball in the air, center field. Carroll starts back, squares up, and makes the catch. But Baltimore tacks on a run, an RBI hit. Ryan O'Hearn in the 3 spot tonight, and it's 3-1 Baltimore.
Studio update. Yankees O's battling it out in the AL East. Yankees at the Trop. Taj Bradley making his season debut. Anthony Rizzo with an RBI single. 1-0 Yankees, still the scorer in the top of the 7th. Rich.
Lauren, thank you. Rays are starting to play a little bit better. Corbin Carroll takes a hack at that one and lines it into the seats. Carroll tonight 0 for 2. The lineouts, one of them was a soft lineout. Both have been back up the middle. And we talk about lefty against lefty, and Irvin has dominated lefties in his last 4 starts.
Now you just look for a fastball up, see if you can put Carroll away. Well, here's why the league is throwing fastballs up. A season ago, he had an injury right in July, and so there's been some bad habits. He's not quite getting to the backside. The bat path is a lot longer. He's striding out. You notice how on the right, his stride is so long. And part of that has to do with, you're making up for an injury. You're just trying to get to a certain spot because the league's trying to throw it up and in, throwing fastballs up.
And if you're asking what's wrong with the Diamondbacks, I mean, offensively, they're still a pretty good team. They're 7th in the National League in homers. That's middle of the row. Their OPS is 6th in the National League. But they missed that guy being the catalyst. And we talked about Perdomo at the bottom of the order being the guy that always seems to get on base, keep innings going, get deep in counts. And those 2 things have added up. And obviously, Gurriel's slow start hasn't helped. He singled and struck out.
Well, a season ago, Diamondbacks were 2nd in baseball in stolen bases, only behind the Cincinnati Reds. And this year, they're 23rd. So that speed element has not been part of the game.
And Carroll had a big chunk of those. He had 54 last year. So he's not getting on base. Perdomo is a guy that can run a little bit as well.
Jake McCarthy stole over 20 bags. He only has 3 or 4 this season. It'll happen for this Diamondbacks team. I have a feeling there's a couple teams in National League West that are going to have big second halves, especially with the Diamondbacks pitching. You're going to get Eduardo Rodriguez back at some point.
And Gurriel has his 2nd hit tonight, and he drives it into right center. Trisha Whitaker, you've got more on Corbin Carroll.
Yeah, guys, I spoke with Diamondbacks manager Torey Lovullo about it, and he said, listen, 99% of people just want to get by doing a job, but he doesn't. He wants to be the absolute best, and he said that, to me, is what motivates the best of the best. They're never satisfied. But, guys, Torey also added, he said, I think it could be a blessing and a curse for him because perhaps he's putting too much pressure on him. He said he meets with Corbin often, and he tells him, just be yourself, and it'll come, guys.
Yeah, Lauren, he said he's the 1% of the 1% in terms of perfectionism and drive to be the best. And here's Walker now, singled back in the 1st, called out on a pitch that was well out of the strike zone in the 4th inning. Gurriel, the runner at 1st. Irvin has 5 strikeouts. He's walked 1. And again, the lone run on the Marte solo homer, his 8th. His first 3 starts this year, 0-1, 6.75 earning. His last 3 starts, he's given up 1 run in 26 innings. And Walker holds up. It's 2-2. Albert Suarez is up in the bullpen for the Orioles. Gurriel's at 1st. Walker checks his swing. And now the count is full with 1 out.
Awfully close, depending on what fan base you cheer for.
And Walker swings and misses. And Irvin has his 6th strikeout, and it's a big one.
Well, I think Christian Walker, he was in swing mode. He figured he wasn't going to get walked, and to pull the changeup out, to drop a changeup wasn't a strike out of the hand. It tells you he was in swing mode. That's a really good feel for for pitch sequencing from both Adley and Cole.
Pulled down the left field line and deep and foul.
Grichuk has had some big numbers in his seasons playing with Toronto, and I felt like he clipped it. He was running out of the box sideways, almost hoping and praying that it would stay fair. It certainly had the distance, especially down the left field line.
And a ton of games in this ballpark. In fact, the most homers versus the Orioles active players, Grichuk at 22. As you would expect, Aaron Judge at the top of that list. JD Martinez has 35. Next pitch, that's a strike. And Irvin, who has been so good at controlling the strike zone, is out in front 0-2. Pulled foul. He grew up in Anaheim, did Cole Irvin. And this chilly, drizzly night, he probably grew accustomed to in college. He was an Oregon Duck. Breaking ball, line into center field. And it's a nice at bat by Grichuk. And it's going to get another power bat to the plate, albeit a scuffling one, and that's Eugenio Suarez.
Yeah, it's going to bring Brandon Hyde out to finish the night. So Grichuk's base hit with 2 strikes will end the night for Cole Irvin.
5 2/3. And of course, the great run that he's been on, and a well-deserved ovation here at Camden Yards. He leads with 2 on and 2 out. Suarez comes in when we get back. Pitch-by-pitch updates, spin rates faster than ever. You get personalized highlight reels based on players you follow every day. Download the MLB app today. We are at Camden Yards, and it's Suarez on Suarez now. This is Albert Suarez with a tidy ERA of 2.29.
Well, it's been an interesting year for Suarez because he's been asked to do a couple different roles. He started a couple games for Brandon Hyde. He found some success. He went overseas, played in Korea, played in the MPB in Japan.
Eugenio Suarez, the hitter, is 0 for 1. He's walked and flied out. This guy has had a really nice run with the bat in terms of power. Cincinnati and in Seattle.
Well, he just hit a home run in Cincinnati, and for Suarez, for Gino, he's missing 1 home run before he could say he's hit a homer in every single ballpark. And you know where that one, the last one is? Here at Camden.
His last 2 years with the Mariners, 53 home runs. And he plays every day. Played every game last year, 162 of them. He also strikes out a lot, 214 last year. That's a strike. Is he going to get a fastball again?
Probably not. Knowing that Suarez has four-seam cut fastball and changeup, he might mix the eyes up.
Fastball, line drive, and a base hit. And the Diamondbacks are going to get a run here. Gurriel's going to score. Throw into third. Grichuk is in there. And in the Suarez versus Suarez battle, Eugenio is the winner, and it's 3-2.
So he does. He gets a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's all over the plate. Gino Suarez just hits it right over Gunnar. Randall Grichuk goes first to third, right in front of the face of Colton Cowser. And this Diamondbacks team is feeling pretty confident. Talked about they hadn't had a long winning streak this season. They've won 4 straight.
Still 2 outs at the corners. And Gabby Moreno, who's 0 for 2. Jam shot, loops it into right. Santander is there, and he makes the catch. The Diamondbacks chase Irvin, get a run, and draw within 1. 3-2 Baltimore. History. Spilly, you had this, so take a bow.
Has the best flat top in baseball out of all the broadcasters around Major League Baseball. Ben McDonald. Big Ben.
That
we're actually sitting in a seat right now.
That is I'll tell you what, having watched a lot of Orioles this week, Santander skies one. And that is out number 1.
Number 46.
Four-seamer, a lot of them from Fott.
Well, you knew that was going to have to be his weapon of choice tonight against the Baltimore Orioles and the left-handed hitters. They were talking about trying to get inside to the lefties. Fott in his last outing against the San Diego Padres, he was tagged by the lefties in the lineup.
And that fastball splits the plate. Ben McDonald, along with Jim Palmer, worked the Orioles telecast. They have one of the best young play-by-play guys in the game, and Kevin Brown. He's terrific.
He is good.
Especially when he sings.
You want him to start singing Blink-182?
Yeah, why not? No, he's outstanding. That's a fun, and look, it's a lot more fun when your team wins 101 games. And the Orioles did that last year. Cowser has something in his eye. Cowser out of Sam Houston State. It's another first rounder that has arrived here quickly. Only 258 minor league games for him.
There are all the milkmen.
That's one thing Brandon Hyde talked about with all the young players that have come up, many of them playing for great college programs. There are a lot of milkmen in the crowd. He's had to counsel a lot of the younger players on not overworking themselves and backing off. Kind of protects players from themselves. Gunnar Henderson's one of those guys that is just like, there's Kimbrel up, and he's the 6th inning.
They're trying to find a spot for him where he can take some of the pressure off. The last outings for Kimbrel have not been good.
Ooh. Fott wanted that pitch, and he had that pitch. It caught the zone.
He probably should have had it. Well, Gabby Moreno is really good at receiving the low strike. Again, here's a different catcher, smaller in stature.
Jammed him. Walker, a flip, and Fott to the bag. I mean, that's interesting to hear a manager say that, Spilly, when Brandon Hyde told us that he's got such hard workers that he's had to talk to them about, hey, guys, don't burn out. You're going to have to back off a little bit to get you through 162.
Well, one of those guys is Jordan Westberg. He has been a total grinder. He's in the cage a ton. He has to get his ground balls. But he's made some adjustments from last year that have really paid off. You know, as a hitter, you want to make sure that your posture is in a good spot. You don't want to get too hunched over. You want to stay in a spot where your spine angle allows your body and your hands to fire directly at the baseball, short and sweet. Give you an idea. So for Westberg, you notice he's in a little bit more of a squat. The bat's a lot flatter. This year, he's a little bit more upright. The bat's in a little better spot, so he's direct to the baseball. Just that simple adjustment. It's not a lot, but it allows you to be more athletic and more direct to the baseball. So the big numbers he's put up is due in part to working really hard.
Absolutely. Westberg lines it into right field, hits it pretty well, and it's caught there. Grichuk had to get back at the last moment. Allowed out, but a 1-2-3-6. Brandon Fott gets through 6, 3-2, Baltimore. Kimbrel.
This happened on Wednesday. Kimbrel comes into the game with a 2-run lead, gives up a homer. He was tagged by Eddie Rosario, who basically didn't have a hit in Washington until that afternoon. And Brandon Hyde, he's trying to take some of the pressure. Craig Kimbrel spoke with media today before the game and just said, I have to be better. Well, since April 26, it's been 5 appearances. He's lasted 2 1/3. 6 earned runs, 7 walks. And in ERA, we get a small sample size, but a 23.14, where through the first 11 games, he had a .82.
And in those 5 appearances, 4 times he's been lifted in the 9th inning.
Well, the number that stands out is it's been 90 pitches. So those five outings, 90 pitches, 50% strike rate. You're just not accustomed to seeing Craig Kimbrel walk.
15th Major League season, 9-time All-Star. Breaking ball, liner, and Mountcastle gets it. Alexander waited and then sprung on that pitch. Allowed out. First out in the 7th.
Here's Mountcastle like a cat, just jumping and grabbing the first out. You can take him any way you want. I mean, I've seen closers get 3 loud outs, balls that get hit to the wall, diving plays. That's all you need. Just get a clean inning.
That sounds like a great name for a show.
Sounds like a great radio show.
Kevin Newman has bounced to short twice. Newman getting the start at shortstop. We talked about Perdomo and his injury. The Diamondbacks are hopeful in about 2.5 weeks he'll be back.
Velocity per year has decreased. I faced Craig Kimbrel when he was with the Braves pitching in the 6th inning.
And now here you are watching him in the 7th. And Oriole fans delighted to see Kimbrel punch out Newman.
He has to get one more out, and it's going to be difficult with Ketel Marte. There's a fastball, just blows it right past him. I mean, Craig Kimbrel, we're talking 425 career saves. I get it, he doesn't have 1,000 innings, but he has been electric.
This is appearance number 797 for Kimbrel. 16th in the 7th inning. Marte homered from the other side of the plate. Fouls that one back.
Well, Kimbrel's definitely pounding the strike, so this is much better ball strike ratio.
And all it took was that loud out, and all of a sudden, it's 0-2. And he buries it.
They just want to get through it. So it's 11 pitches, 8 for strikes.
Felix Bautista out for the year. Tommy John surgery, the all-star closer last year for Baltimore. Marte's homer, an opposite field shot against the lefty starter Cole Irvin, who went 5 2/3, struck out 6, gave up a couple runs on 5 hits.
There's career-wise for Craig Kimbrel. He's essentially been the right-handed version of Billy Wagner.
Check swing, did not go. Two. High fly ball. Santander with plenty of room. makes the catch. And Craig Kimbrell in the 7th goes 1, 2, 3. Scores, and everybody's getting wet. Slow ground ball, that'll score a run, and again, and it's gone.
Tell Marte, he's a special player.
Ryan O'Hearn, that's another run.
It's time to go right now. Get ready.
Yeah, Mr. Splash was here. The new Orioles owner was out there manning the hose on a soggy night in Baltimore. And of course, the great tradition here in the bottom of the 7th. Thank God I'm a country boy. Back in the day, Wild Bill was doing that on the dugouts here. This is really fun to come back to this ballpark and see it, and see the energy, see a winning team, feel it in the city, the vibe in the city. The weather tonight, chilly and wet, is kind of cut down on the crowd, but not their enthusiasm. They've been mooing for Cowser. They've been cheering for Gunnar.
They have the team that feels like it's in that next competitive window where they're a problem. I mean, Baltimore's a problem. The American League East know they're a problem.
As young as they are, that could be a rather wide window.
That's what they're excited about. I mean, the jerseys that Orioles fans are buying, they know they get to wear for a couple years.
It's a great point. Logan Allen, one of the better pieces out of the pen this year, the lefty for the Diamondbacks. Got a low whip. Hitters hitting just 220 against him. Has that sweeper and the split finger.
You're just going to try to do everything you can to keep this a one-run game. See if you can add on. You know, we just saw Craig Kimbrell come in the 7th inning. So what does that mean? Is there a reshuffling for the 8th and 9th? We know Yennier Cano is going to pitch.
Mullins fires at the first pitch. It's Blaze Alexander. And that's one out.
Blaze Alexander tonight, counting it up, I think he has 4 or 5 pop-outs that he's had to catch. He's kind of joking around with Kevin Newman. He was like, man, I wasn't expecting to get my outfield work in.
There's Mateo, bottom of the order. He's flying out. An 0 for 2 night. Logan Allen rides that one in, and it's 1-0. Brandon Pfaadt went 6 innings, didn't strike out a hitter, walked just 2. He gave up the 3 runs and 5 hits. Mateo has a couple homers this year. In the hole, and it gets through the glove of Newman. That would have been a really tough play anyways, had he held it. That's a base hit.
Well, now you get Mateo on first base, who's 5 for 5 on the season, stolen bases, 83 for his career. He just finds the hole, to your point.
So it's lefty on lefty here with Gunnar Henderson. Mateo at first. Logan Allen on the mound. And the first pitch is a strike. Anthony Orza is part of our vast research group, our crack staff of researchers here at Apple. And he points out that the first and second rounders of the Orioles have the best OPS combined out of any team in Major League Baseball. They have more of them, and theirs are better than yours. 795 is the OPS for the first and second rounders wearing an Oriole uniform this year.
Well, a big part of that is Gunnar Henderson. Gunnar Henderson put a list together of top 5 players in Major League Baseball below the age of 25, and he's right at the top of that. I mean, it's hard pressed not to say Bobby Witt, but 310 batting average against lefties, left on left.
Pulls it foul, and he's also mic'd up.
I think it's in the opposing little well over there. Oh yeah, right there. There he is. Right there in the opposing camera well. Yeah.
Now you know what they talk about when they have their gloves over their mouth. Henderson in the gap in right center. Mateo racing for third. He's gonna score. A double for Gunnar. A 4-2 lead for the Orioles.
Here it is, left on left. We just pointed out 310 batting average on the season. Splits the gap. They were trying to keep Mateo close because they didn't want him to steal, but now you get to see the speed. It splits the gap. Third base coach Tony Mansolino, he's like, keep it coming. Score.
Bring it on. 4-2 Orioles, and a pitching change in the bottom of the 7th. Of baseball, it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent. It's hard to keep your concentration when the MVPs at Orioles past are flying in front of you. And this guy, he could be Rookie of the Year one year and MVP the next year. That hasn't been done much at all in baseball history.
No, I mean, it just doesn't happen. You have to be some special player. Cal Ripken was certainly one of them. Here's Justin Martinez, 6'3" right-hander from Dominican Republic. There's Cal, Jim Palmer.
First pitch to Adley Rutschman. So how many and who were Rookie of the Years to go on to win MVPs? Not many. Chris Bryant, Petey, Dustin Pedroia, Ryan Howard, Cal Ripken Jr. That's it. And maybe this guy. Rutschman's lined out, singled, 1 for 3. That's a swing. Malachi Moore, the third base umpire.
I play neutral. Like I said, if you're whatever fan base you're on, you're going to see something different.
Count is 1-2.
For Martinez, it's a fastball split finger combination, and the fastball sits right around 100 miles an hour.
So when you take something off and your changeup's 90, that's nasty.
Well, he just did the little wiggle too. He drops a 90-mile-an-hour split finger. That's the pitch that's back in vogue. And if you watched Martinez after he threw it, he just did a little shiver like, yeah, man, he had no chance at that. I love it. I love 22-year-olds with swag.
It's kind of a Steph Curry move.
Yeah, if he rocked the baby on Adley, I would have said, oh. Well, they're going to walk around O'Hearn. They want no part of O'Hearn.
And so Mountcastle will face the hard-throwing right-hander, Brandon Hyde. One other thing, storyline that it is pleasing to me, having watched Brandon Hyde early in his career, as Mountcastle steps in. Many times when a young manager takes over a team, the team is a mess. He took over a team that was a mess, and they were a mess the first couple years, but they were building. The fact that the Orioles have kept him and his staff intact, and they get to be managing him when they win 101 games last year, that's really cool. Sometimes clubs feel that when a young team is rebuilt and they get to be 500, that they need a different type of manager to take them to the top. They stuck with Brandon Hyde. He's taken them to the top. 101 wins last year. American League East title last year. And Freddie Gonzalez, his bench coach. Mountcastle, a swing and a miss. Justin Martinez puts out the fire. Brandon Hyde and the Orioles get an insurance run. RBI double. Gunnar Henderson. By GovX. Military, first responders, and other service personnel get unbeatable deals on thousands of brands at govx.com. Rich Waltz along with Ryan Spilborgs. Tricia Whitaker is with us. It is a little chilly here, and it is rainy. This guy, though, show him. Look, last couple innings, come on, show the.
I had my gloves, yes,
He
it's
lives
cold.
in Colorado, and he's been wearing gloves for most of the night.
Well, they were in my backpack, so I figured if I had them, might as well wear them.
Well, it's always fun to sit next to you. I listened to your radio show. I remember you as I called some of your games as a player. We used to see each other in Denver in
all
the
the
booth
time
when you started your broadcasting career. And look at you now. It's Billy.
Appreciate that. Yeah, it's not everyone's favorite, but that's okay. I'm glad that I'm one of yours.
Yeah. There's Tricia. Tricia, do you have gloves on too? See, she doesn't even have gloves on, Spilly.
I don't have gloves on, but I do have a sweatshirt, a hoodie, another hood. I have a leather jacket from my good friend Melanie Newman, who works for the Orioles. And I also have this. It's a blanket.
Yeah, because you.
I can't say much.
Yeah, Tricia, they're like, Melanie told me that, hey, Trish, it's going to be cold and rainy in Baltimore. Pack accordingly. Tricia's used to 72 degrees, climate-controlled Tropicana, and did not pack properly.
Jacob Webb is in. Corbin Carroll bounces it to second. And Carroll is thrown out. 0 for 4 tonight. Lourdes Gurriel, Christian Walker coming up. We've documented the struggles of Craig Kimbrell and the injury to Bautista, the all-star closer from last year. There still are options out there for Brandon Hyde. There's some good arms in that bullpen if they're looking for a guy who can fill the role or at least get outs in an 8th and a 9th inning spot.
Yeah, I mean, it was good for Baltimore's perspective to have Craig Kimbrell have a clean 7.
That ball to left, didn't get all of it. Cowser. Utterly entertaining. Here's Walker.
To your point, I mean, Cionel Perez has been a really nice weapon for Brandon Hyde out of the bullpen for Baltimore.
You got Cano, don't you know?
Yadier Cano has been awesome. One of the league's best changeups coming out of that pen.
There's Perez.
Yeah, Danny Colomb, who's been really, really good. So they have some candidates to get outs in the late innings, and I just don't see the league having traditional roles anymore.
They're finally, it feels like the league is finally tipped towards what a lot of people called for 7, 8, 9 years ago. High leverage relievers. Bring them in the high leverage. If you face the tough guys in the 7th or the 8th and you need those outs, bring your guy in then.
Jacob Webb has been another really good high leverage reliever for Brandon Hyde. So, a sweeping slider right at the bottom of the strike zone.
Two bounces. Walker singled back in the 1st. Caught looking in the 4th. Down swinging in the 6th. Full count in the 8th. And he pulls it hard and foul. Long ago and far away, he was a Baltimore Oriole. Diamondbacks World Series team last year, but injuries this year. Sewald is back. Thomas and Perdomo, they are waiting to get back. Thomas, a superb defender in center fielder. Perdomo, we talked about how valuable he is as the number 9 hitter and an outstanding shortstop. Gets on base a lot. Merrill Kelly out of the rotation.
They get Miguel Castro, Kyle Nelson, lefty reliever. Gaucho just went on the IL. He's going to have Tommy John surgery.
Did you just drop a Gaucho? UCSB. Now here's Jock Peterson. And Peterson is going to end up facing the lefty Perez. After the walk to Walker. 4-2 in the 8th. Baltimore on top. Episodes of Dark Matter are now streaming on Apple TV Plus, starring Joel Edgerton and Jennifer Connelly. When a man is abducted into an alternative version of his own life, Spilly, he embarks on a journey to save his family from the most terrifying foe imaginable, himself. Stream it following the game. You gotta read that in a serious voice.
You almost have to. Just saw a movie with Joel Edgerton, Boys in the Boat. Worth the recommendation. It's worth watching.
It's from my neck of the woods up in Washington. Here is Jock Peterson, and he faces Perez.
Well, Jock had a 3-hit game yesterday and doesn't get a chance to play, but this is also why, because Torey Lovullo uses him. He was trying to play the card against a righty, so left on left for Jock. He doesn't traditionally get a lot of left on left opportunities. And Perez, I mean, this has been a workhorse for the Orioles bullpen. Last 2 seasons, he's had over 60 appearances every year out of Cuba.
Fourth reliever. Oh! It sounded like it hit the pad on the elbow. It still doesn't feel great. Let's see where it did hit. .95-mile-an-hour pitch. He had a pad there, but he's holding it as well.
I just noticed how that 2-seam fastball is just riding, and it does catch the pad, but it still hurts.
Yeah. And so you bring Perez in to face the left-hander. And now you got Suarez coming up.
Jock was going to get pinch ran for regardless if he got on base. So don't automatically assume that he's going to get treatment on the elbow or something. He was going to come out of that because they had Jake McCarthy.
And McCarthy can really run. And so mound visit here. 2-run lead. Let's watch and listen. There's McCarthy now. So as a trail runner in a 2-run ball game, he's of great importance here. You got Walker at second. Eugenio Suarez not off to the best of starts, but he's 1 for 2 tonight and an RBI single back in the 6th. And he gets to face the lefty. Gabby Moreno's on deck. 2 outs. And Perez misses. The back end of the bullpen has been an issue for Baltimore. That seems to be their only weakness right now.
Well, right now the Diamondbacks have a leverage opportunity because of Gino's numbers against lefties. Gino much better on the season against left-handed pitching versus righties, an 833 OPS compared to a 555 against righties.
They're not holding McCarthy at first, and he pulls it on the ground to third. Westberg gets the out at second, and Perez gets the right-hander and gets out of the inning. Diamondbacks strand 2, trail it 4-2. With red-hot Lionel Messi. His historic run. Miami goes for revenge against Montreal. It's rivalry week. Coverage starts at 7:30 Eastern. You can see every match in one place. MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Rich Waltz, Ryan Spilborgs, Tricia Whitaker, Anthony Santander. Santander in this ball game singled and scored back in the 2nd, popped out twice. Flips it down the line and out of play.
Well, there's only been 7 strikeouts on one side of the ledger for the Baltimore Orioles, but the only 2 strikeouts for the Diamondbacks pitching staff comes from the arm of Justin Martinez, who punched out Adley Rutschman and Ryan O'Hearn. This stuff is nasty.
Santander has struggled against righties this year. I told you, as a switch hitter, he's a prodigious home run guy. He's homered from both sides of the plate 3 times this year. He's at 317 from the other side of the plate.
And I misspoke, because Ryan O'Hearn and Ryan Mountcastle that had the 2 strikeouts.
Hauser and Westberg will follow. And Martinez falls off the mound. I tell you what, this field has always been just a great playing surface. And it's held its own tonight in what has been kind of a steady drizzle. And Martinez gets the strikeout.
This guy's throwing some wiffle ball split fingers. I mean, this one's a slider. He goes down and in to Santander. And that's because when you see a swing so far out of the strike zone like that, especially when you're that good of a hitter, it means that the hitter is so geared up for the big fastball, because this fastball has touched 100. So 101. That's why you get big swing and misses, is hitters are selling out to try to touch the fastball.
And by selling out, you mean cheating.
Cheating, yep.
Starting that swing early. Cano is up in the Baltimore pen. That's 100. And it looked like it missed, but it's a called strike. He's just pouring triple digits in.
Well, this also gives a great example of why, preseason list, this was the Diamondbacks' number 26 prospect at the start of the year.
They're number 26 in the organization, not
in baseball.
Not top 100 MLB.com.
That's right. Like tomorrow, Paul Skeens is going to throw 101, number 1 overall prospect in baseball.
He is just a great story. Air Force. I know, and that's a walk. I know everyone talks about Skeens and LSU, but he was at Air Force for 2 years, and he wanted to stay. He wanted to fulfill his commitment, but everybody knew he was going to be this good and be a top draft pick. Even his head coach said, you've got to go. And at Air Force, after your sophomore year, you live up in that area.
Yeah, if you step foot on campus for that 3rd year, you're required to put your service.
Fulfill your service. And even he has said that at some point he'd like to fulfill that service and go back and do it. He comes from a military family, and he makes his major league debut tomorrow for the Pirates.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's really excited. Griffin Jacks is another Air Force Academy pitcher in the big leagues, pitches for the Twins.
All right, here, speaking of top prospects, Skeens, Jackson Holliday still sits at number 1. Jordan Lawler he's the next, next young Diamondback that arrives. He's a shortstop. And now the right-hander Justin Martinez. A little more selective are the Orioles here. Hauser at first.
You also have what's called an up-down. So Martinez comes into the game, punches 2 guys up. He has his sit down. That's the down. For some relievers, the up-down, you're up, you're in the game, you're up, sit down, down. Now you have to come back in the game. Are you as adrenalized? Did you feel the adrenaline leave your body? That's the difference.
The adrenaline left my body a long time ago. That's a foul tip, and it's held by Gabby Moreno. Big strikeout. Westberg goes down. Martinez trying to keep it at 2 runs and give his club a shot in the 9th.
Rich, I'm telling you, this is a future closer for the Diamondbacks. With that fastball and that split finger combination, you're looking at a future back-end reliever. He's only 22 years of age.
And the split is back in fashion. It's kind of come and gone through baseball. right? I mean, Roger Craig was the godfather of the split long ago, pitching coach and Giants manager. That's a 101 on the black.
If he didn't walk Colton Cowser, some of the pitches are really close. It would have easily been 5 straight. And he's four of the outs that he's gotten so far are on punch outs. He's not letting anybody play.
Yeah, there's no ball in play with him. And the tapper is foul.
And I'll tell you from experience, I told you there's a time that I faced Craig Kimbrell in the 6th inning, and you come in after you face a certain arm in a spot, you're like, why is that guy pitching here? Or what in the world is that? I will promise you, if we go to Baltimore Orioles dugout after the game or clubhouse, they'll say, what was that?
Swing and a foul tip, and it's held, and that's another strikeout, and that's impressive stuff. But the Diamondbacks are down to their last 3 outs. Baltimore at home and on top. That's
nasty.
Not fair. On to the 9th. It's 4-2.
It comes down in the 8th inning. Zeno Perez is in the game. He's facing Eugenio Suarez and ends up getting Suarez to ground out. It was almost a perfect matchup for the Diamondbacks to possibly tie up or take a lead. Didn't go that way.
Yanier Cano, all-star last year, just had an incredible start to the season. And you can see this year's going quite well as well with a 2.00 ERA. He was an all-star last year, an ERA of 2.11, 72 games last year. And his importance and his performance now becomes much larger with the struggles at the back of the bullpen, the injury to Bautista, the struggles of Kimbrell. Cano now, Gabby Moreno, first hitter for the D-backs, and he fouls it off. Defensive replacement in right, Ryan McKenna.
We're at the bottom of the lineup for the Diamondbacks, but it's still not the bottom of the lineup in terms of caliber of at-bats, quality of at-bats. but Cano has one of the league's best changeups.
He's 9 of 16 in save opportunities in his career, and he's getting one here.
He's a big right-hander, 6'4". I feel like he's taller than that. League is hitting 182 on his changeup.
There's a ground ball, and it's fair. And down into the corner. And Moreno racing for second has got a double. And the Diamondbacks have life in the ninth.
Moreno's just such a great young player. It's still hard to imagine if you're a Toronto Blue Jays fan how the Blue Jays allowed him to go away. We know Dalton Varsho's part of that deal that got Moreno. This guy can hit and he can catch.
Alexander now. And he takes a strike. Alexander is lined out, flied out, and struck out.
26 Smith on deck.
Pavin Smith is on deck, and then you get Marte and Corbin Carroll. And you get 96 thrown by it. It's 0-2. Bottom drops out, and it's 1-2. Alexander has power. He's hit 3 home runs. Down 2 in the ninth. He'd like to get to Marte and Carroll with the Diamondbacks. With a chance to tie it. Alexander goes down.
Here's a great look at why his changeup is so good. Notice how the bottom just dropped out of it. How he pronates his arm, just the long right arm. Fastball gets on you, they pronate, so he gets a little bit of that diving action to a right-handed batter.
So Pavin Smith, who hit a grand slam in April, that was against the Cardinals. It was on the road. Brought up from AAA Reno in the middle of April. So he has power. Moreno at second. And Smith fouls it off. And Marte is on deck. Barring a line drive double play, he'll have a chance here in the ninth, and Carroll is behind him. Coulombe, the lefty, is ready in the pen for Baltimore. Down 2. 1 out. Top 9. Cano. And Smith lays off. And this is turning into a nice at bat. It's 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, you're tempted in taking Tony Perez-Chica, the third base coach for the Diamondbacks. I'm not sure if he gave him the green light or a take sign.
(3-1) to Smith. Just catches the corner and the knees.
Gives you an idea of the confidence that Cano has in the changeup. This is a 3-1 changeup. Also, for Pavin Smith, he hasn't seen the fastball.
3-2. On the ground, Mountcastle flips the second out. But a hot hitter to deal with now for the Orioles and Ketel Marte as they come to their feet at Camden Yards.
We'll have to see if Cano does the exact same thing that he did to Pavin Smith. Pavin Smith saw every pitch a changeup.
Marte, who homered from the right side of the plate back in the third. is the tying run. Arizona's down to their last out. Moreno's at third. Changeup. The trend continues.
You have to be paying attention. That's 7 straight changeups to a lefty.
8 homers this year. Marte off of the leg of Cano, picks it up, throws, ball game. Baltimore has won it. They've won 6 of their last 7. The first place team in the American League East, the Baltimore Orioles, with a 25-12 start to the season.
As Orioles team came to play, it looks like they have this confidence that when they're playing a game, they expect to win. And for the Diamondbacks, it was 4 straight wins for them. It's a really clean game. Really fun, well-pitched game. Goes back and forth. Go back to a handful of bats. You had a walk here, a couple singles. The Orioles were able to manufacture some runs in a way where they didn't rely on the homer.
Gunnar Henderson, RBI double in the 7th, stretched the lead. An important run as Brandon Hyde, with the struggles of the back of his bullpen, pieces it together.
And of course, it was another changeup from Cano to get Ketel Marte. So in the case of Yennier Cano, he used 8 straight changeups to close out the game.
He hadn't closed out many before. That's just his 10th career save. And the Orioles open up this weekend series with a 4-2 win and hope for sunny skies tomorrow and Sunday. And let's check in with Tricia Whitaker. Tricia?
Well, hey there, Rich. I am here with Gunnar Henderson. And Gunnar, let's go back to the 7th inning. You ripped an RBI double. Mateo came home. Take us through your vision in that 8B to tack onto this lead.
Yeah, was able to get some out over the plate. Tried not to do too much with it because I knew Georgia could really run, and I was lucky enough to get it in the gap and let him show off his wheels.
And that speed, you mentioned it from Mateo. Never gets old, always impressive, right?
Love watching him run. Always tell him to keep going. I love watching him run. I want to see him hit triples. So, yeah, it's fun watching him run.
AL Player of the Month twice already this season. You're already being in that conversation for AL MVP. What does this year mean to you? What does that mean to you to be there in your 2nd year in the bigs?
Yeah, I'm very blessed to be considered for that, I guess, right now. But it's still a long season, and just trying to take it day by day and continue to put good at-bats together and win games.
It is a long season, but what can you say about what this team has done so far, sitting at top of the East and doing what they're doing right now?
Yeah, it's really awesome being able to play with this team. It's a great group of guys. It's really fun to be around, and yeah, looking forward to see what the future holds.
Can I ask a serious journalistic question about your Lego competition with Colton Cowser right now? How's it going? How many pieces are in that? What is it, a Star Destroyer?
I think it's called the Venator. It's, I want to say, around like 5,500 pieces, so it's on up there. We're just getting started on it. So.
Who's going to win it?
Me, of course.
There we go. On that note, guys, let's send it back to you, Gunnar. Thanks so much.
All right, Trish. Tricia, congratulations on a nice night and braving the weather here in Baltimore. You were the toughest of the 3 of us. Yeah, celebrations in the splash zone. 4-2 the final for the Orioles. We're back after this.